So Justice Huni has just won his fight against Shaun Potgieter. I think that's how you say his name. But yeah, Justice Huni wrecks him as expected. Um, yeah, I mean, it was just an obvious win. It was just such an obvious win, and I wanted to see it go on longer. I wanted to see someone in there with Justice Huni who would actually, give him some rounds and give him something to think about at least. But he's just being given guys who we can just blast out of there, and you're not going to learn anything off that. Like Huni won his last fight by absolutely destroying another bus driver, but now it's just the same old thing again. Someone who was worse than the last guy. So it's like Huni's not learning anything from this, and Huni fought like less than a month ago as well. And it's good for activity. You getting back Huni back in there quickly, but get him in there with someone who can give you rounds. I mean, you'd think once you've destroyed someone, you come back a month later because you haven't really got much damage to you whatsoever. You can go through another camp and fairly easily, and for the next one, you hope that you can be given a few rounds, but that was not the case at all. That was easy for Huni to win. And I don't know if it was the low blow in that first round that might have, taken a bit out of Potgieter, but I mean, it probably was. It seemed to be affecting him a bit. Either way, though, Huni was going to blast him out of there anyway, though, and you could tell from the off. It's hard to judge Huni when he's fighting these guys, though. But I think what I do like about Huni is his body work. I think that's very good. His hooks to the body are very nice to watch, in my opinion. And he can cut the ring off well. From what we've seen against the guys he's fought, he hasn't really been in there with too many guys with a heartbeat, apart from Kevin Lorena. If I'm being completely honest, that's it from Justice Huni so far. He's just been giving guys room to destroy. He had a few fights that were going the distance, like 5 in a row or something that went the distance. And then, his last 3 who he's been given, he's just been able to blast them all out of there. He's not learning anything from those fights. He's not gaining any more experience that he needs to. Get some rounds in, then KO the guy. They're kind of fights that Huni should be given. Just give Huni a big fight now. Like, I don't want to see another one of those guys in there with Justice Huni again. Like, it can't happen. He now needs to up these levels, because that was just, I can't even think of a word of what that was, but it just wasn't great. And I just feel like at times as well, when Huni comes in offensively, he kind of just forgets the fundamentals at times and just goes in a bit wild. And I just feel like if Huni goes up against a good counterpuncher, he's going to get beat. But again, it is hard to judge. But that is just what I think, and that's what I'm getting out of it so far. I think he'll get beat against a good counterpuncher because, I mean, obviously he's going to be more confident going in against these guys and, taking more risks. And that's he's probably going to take less risks when he goes in there against someone with more experience and someone who is actually a good name. He's going to be thinking more, in my opinion. But at times in that Lorena fight that he had, he wasn't thinking lows at times. And when the fight went late, he was struggling. But, I mean, ever since then, it's time to, go back, reset a little bit. Even though he won the fight, which he rightfully so against Lorena, but you'd think these last 3 fights, reset a bit, try and go the distance a few more times again, or just try and, go a few rounds and get a knockout, learn a bit more, pace yourself better. But that's just not what we've seen in these fights. Huni's just been able to blast these guys out of there, and that shouldn't be happening. He needs to learn more. And, if we've heard talks about him fighting Moser the Tower, like we've all heard those talks. These fights, these knockout wins, they're not helping Justice Huni in any way whatsoever for a Moser the Tower fight. Atama's going to be able to outsmart Justice Huni. And I like Justice Huni. I do like Justice Huni. But he's going to be outsmarted. He's going to be counted. And he's going to get knocked out. I mean, as I said, though, he's not going to take some stupid risks against people like Moser the Tower. And, he's hopefully paces himself better. But we don't know that, though. From what we've seen, there's no proof of Huni, going out there and pacing himself better than what he did in that Lorena fight. Because the 3 fights he's had since, we haven't seen that. He's blasted them all out of there. I think the matchmaking for Justis Huni's been very poor. And that's nothing to do with Huni. Like, Huni, it's not on him. Huni's gone in there. He's done what he's had to do at the end of the day. And when he's got an opportunity to knock the guy out, he pounces on it. And, he has got good hands and his body work is good and he has got power. And he does put his combinations together well. But at times, it's messy and he forgets the fundamentals and he just goes all out. Huni does what he has to do. But the matchmaking's not been very good for him whatsoever. The next fight's surely going to be a big fight for Huni as well. And the build up to that has not been ideal for Justis Huni whatsoever because of the opponents that he's been given. They've just been too easy. He's not learning anything. He's not gaining any experience out of it whatsoever. And that's the thing. It's pointless going in there with a guy who you're just going to blast out of there. And this guy was worse than the last guy that Huni fought. So, in my opinion, that's pretty disappointing. But again, as I said, Justis Huni's gone in there. He's done what he's had to do. That's what I think. What is next for Justis Huni overall? I mean, again, it looks like Moses Atalma. Most likely, it's looking like. I don't know who else he'd fight other than Moses Atalma, though. I think it makes sense for Atalma. For Huni, I don't know. Like, again, though, I would like to see him in there with a guy at a slightly lower level than Atalma, but someone who is durable, someone who is going to win, but Huni will most likely beat. But Huni can go a few rounds with that guy. He can get tested. He will get hit. Let's see how he dig deep. Let's see how he pace himself in that fight. Against Atalma, you're going to have to pace yourself. And from what I've seen of Huni so far, I don't fully trust that he will. And I think that's the same as what many people think as well. But anyway, I'm going to end this video here. Thanks for watching. Speak to you on a bit.